WFLA Now will begin momentarily. WFLA Now will begin momentarily. Breaking news on WFLA Now. Here is J.B. Biunno.
The parents of Michigan school shooting suspect Ethan Crumbley are missing, and now a manhunt underway to find the parents, facing 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter after 4 were tragically killed in Oxford Township, Michigan. Hey there, everybody. J.B. Biunno here with you live on WFLA Now. Manhunt underway for the parents of Ethan Crumbley, the 15-year-old that we've been talking about on WFLA.com, the WFLA app. A be on the lookout call, as they call it, a BOLO alert has been put out for the parents just hours after they were charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. The parents here on the right side of your screen, Jennifer and James Crumbley, the parents of 15-year-old Ethan Crumbley. A lot to get to here, so what we're going to do is we're going to go full screen. We want to get this image out to as many different places on social media as possible. We're currently live on Facebook Live. We're live on YouTube Live as well. And by now, if you've been on Twitter, you've been seeing this image quite a bit as the word is getting out in Michigan, especially in Oakland County, to be on the lookout for the couple who are the parents of the suspected shooter in the school shooting that claimed 4 lives. Now, a Michigan prosecutor, that being Karen McDonald, to the parents here, Jennifer and James, are facing now 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. And they were summoned a few hours earlier after a teacher found a drawing of a gun, a person of bleeding, and the words, "Help me," again, connected to their son, Ethan Crumbley. McDonald said the semi-automatic gun that was used in the shooting was purchased by James Crumbley last week and given to the teen, that it was unlocked. It was available to the teen and was unlocked. McDonald saying that Jennifer Crumbley sent a text to her son when the news broke about the shooting at the school saying, "Ethan, don't do it." Jennifer and James, again, charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, and under Michigan law, an involuntary manslaughter charge can be pursued if prosecutors believe that someone contributed to a situation where harm or death was high. If convicted, they face up to 15 years in prison. So this is obviously, folks, a rapidly developing situation here as authorities in Michigan try to track down the whereabouts of the parents. On the right side of your screen, Jennifer and James, according to our sister station Wood TV in Michigan, they say that the parents were last seen around noon today. I wasn't able to specify whether or not that was noon Central Time or Eastern Time. I believe it's noon Central, meaning that we're talking about really 4 hours or so since the couple was seen. Again, the couple really making history. And I'm going to read this from my colleague Brian Enton of News Nation. For the first time in history, the parents of an alleged school shooter might be charged, and were charged then afterwards, were charged in connection with their child's alleged crime. The prosecutor in the case says that actions went far beyond negligence and that the gun seems to have just been freely available. Again, that according to the prosecutors in this case, and the prosecutor that we heard from in this case is Karen McDonald of the Oakland County prosecution. So again, let's go full screen and display this as large as we can. There is currently a manhunt underway for the couple on your screen, and there's a whole lot more to this story that we're going to be breaking down. Now, the superintendent for the district posted a YouTube video saying that the teenager, Ethan, was called to the office before the shooting, but that no discipline was warranted based on what they had discussed in that meeting with the superintendent's office. Now, the leader of Oxford Community Schools said the high school looks like a war zone and will not be ready for reopening for weeks, but he repeatedly credited students and staff on how they responded to the violence. Just a terrible, but as it's being argued, of course, on social media and has been argued over the last couple of days, was this preventable based on some of the signs that were out there for the parents and for school administrators? The morning of the shooting, Ethan Crumbly's teacher, came across a note on his desk that contained a drawing of a gun, pointed at words, "The thoughts won't stop. Help me." And the drawing contained an image of a person who was shot. Parents were summoned to the school, but Ethan was then returned to the classroom as this meeting was conducted in the school in Oxford Township, at Oxford High School. Ethan Crumbly, additionally, was searching ammunition on his cell phone, according to officials, searching for ammo on his cell phone during class, and a teacher reported it. The school called and emailed the parents, but got no response. Now, detectives have said that Ethan's mom texted him, "LOL, I'm not mad at you. You have to learn how not to get caught." Not the behavior that you would expect from parents anywhere, let alone parents of somebody who, by all indications, everything that we've heard and reporting on this story, was dealing with mental health difficulties and struggling, a 15-year-old that was struggling mightily with mental health, or at least exhibiting signs of struggling with his mental health. And now, not only do we have Ethan Crumbly charged as an adult, which is, again, folks who know how crime works, being charged as an adult is significant when you have someone who is 15 years of age, a minor being charged as an adult, but the crimes, of course, warrant those charges based on what happened that day inside the school. Those crimes, there are a dozen charges here, a dozen crimes: murder, attempted murder, terrorism, all for the shooting that occurred at Oxford High School. And for those of you unfamiliar, Oakland County, where Oxford High School is located. This all happening Tuesday. That's roughly, as we were live on stream, we were talking about it, 30 miles north of Detroit. 4 students were tragically killed. 7 more people were injured, and 3 were in hospitals in stable condition of the last report that I had learned or read. So I see that we have a sizable audience here on Facebook Live, on YouTube Live. What we're going to do now, we're going to keep this image on screen. The whole purpose of this, of course, is to alert as many folks on social media as possible. And yes, we're live in Tampa on WFLA Now, and we focus WFLA, FLA being Florida. We focus very much on Florida stories, and we do have another major breaking news story happening in Florida that we're going to get to out of Pasco County. 8 on your side's Justin Shecker is heading to the scene of that breaking news story, so we have more coming your way, and we're going to be live on this stream for another maybe 15 minutes or so before we have to get ready for that breaking news story coming up. But we reach a international audience here on WFLA Now because of the internet, because of Facebook, because of YouTube. So we're going to continue to share out this image in the hope that somebody sees the Crumblys here. Jennifer and James Crumbly, the parents of Ethan Crumbly, the sole shooting suspect, or the sole suspect in the shooting that claimed 4 lives, 4 student lives, young lives, in Oxford County, or Oxford High School in Oakland County, Michigan. So what we're going to do, and I see some of the commenters, Dawn on YouTube saying, #JB, I am from Oxford, Michigan, and this is so very sad. Prayers are with everyone in the community. And while there is of course, we talk about this with tragic stories when it comes to families out there that are grieving. Right now, this is a story about families grieving, especially the families of those 4 students that were claimed their lives just taken way too young. But right now, this stream here is a call to action. It's a call to action to get this image out to as many places as possible and help in the search, this manhunt that has now unfolded over the last couple of hours, the manhunt for the Crumbleys here. So prayers are, of course, more than welcome on a stream like this, but this is also not just a time for prayers. This is a time for action, and action in the event, or in the case of using retweets, using shares, using what you can on social media as we get this image out everywhere. And what we'd like to do now is communicate with you interactively on WFLA Now. I'm going to step away from the microphone here for just a moment, and we're going to get your comments loaded up here with hashtag #HeyJB.
Breaking news on WFLA Now. Here's J.B. Biunno.
Engaging a new digital audience here live on WFLA Now as a manhunt is underway, and we have multiple agencies now participating in these search efforts for the Crumbleys. Jennifer and James, here pictured on your screen, the parents of 15-year-old Michigan school shooting suspect Ethan Crumbley. Here live, everybody, on WFLA Now. We're going to feature some of the hashtag #HeyJB comments that have been coming in. I see them across YouTube, I see them across Twitter, and I see them across Facebook. We're going to try to load up. We're, of course, engaging with a pretty large audience here, so we're going to try to engage with as many comments here as possible. But let me explain how the system works for newcomers here to WFLA Now. If you use hashtag #HeyJB, that is an indication that you would like for us to feature your comment on screen, as you see it here underneath my name on the yellow stripe, underneath my name on the left side of your screen. If you would like for us to feature your question or comment, please use hashtag #HeyJB. If you don't want to have your comment featured on screen because you don't want your name to be on the news, so to speak, or you don't want your profile picture to be on the news, just do us a favor and don't use the hashtag. We'll let you continue to comment back and forth with your fellow commenters. That's kind of how we do it here on WFLA Now. So, Crystal, hashtag #HeyJB, do we know if the parents are armed? Interestingly enough, I don't have any concrete information at this time as to whether or not the parents are armed. However, it's interesting to note that the suspect, 15-year-old Ethan, acquired the firearm from, as we understand it, his father, James Crumbley, here right next to me in the center of your screen, wearing, well, they're both wearing hats, but on the left is James Crumbley alongside his wife, Jennifer. So we'll continue to feature some more of your comments coming in with hashtag #HeyJB, and they're coming in so fast, so everyone's just going to have to please kind of bear with me as I try to find some of these comments. And let's get to Judith commenting along here with us as well, loading up her comment with hashtag #HeyJB, and Judith saying, when did they start this manhunt and what led to this? Well, what led to this is that they were unreachable, that their whereabouts quickly became unknown after about noon today. Noon today, according to Wood TV, was the last time that the parents' whereabouts were known, and now they are off the grid, so to speak. Their whereabouts unknown. And when you have parents, for the first time in history, we have parents being charged in connection with their child's actions as far as a school shooting. This is unprecedented territory that we're in. So, of course, Michigan authorities are going to keep tabs on the couple that you're looking at here on your screen now that they're facing 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. And by keeping tabs on them, they have somehow eluded authorities, and their whereabouts are currently unknown. Now, I had some new information that just came in here a moment ago. I believe the U.S. Marshal's Office, the FBI, yes, FBI, U.S. Marshals, and teaming up with police agencies across Michigan for this BOLO. Be on the lookout alert that has been put out to all authoritative agencies in Michigan to be on the lookout for James and Jennifer. Of course, Ethan Crumbley is currently behind bars, charged as an adult, facing more than charges connected to more than a dozen crimes, including murder, attempted murder, and terrorism for the shooting that occurred inside the school on Tuesday, a shooting that, as we've been detailing here on WFLA Now, so many signs were prevalent, including a meeting that occurred at the school, and so many signs were there, and yet somehow Ethan was able to get the firearm from his parents and into the school where he was able to commit the act, even though he was allegedly shopping for ammunition inside a school. What has happened with school? Shopping for ammo inside of a school. That's, when you really think about it. When I went to school, I would maybe, if I had a wandering eye, I was looking for answers on a quiz. I'm not sitting there looking over and seeing another classmate shopping for ammo. It's one student, but it's a pretty, you can almost picture it in your head. Students having access to the internet inside of our schools now, all because of phones. Yes, we all have phones, and if you're, let's face it, just about most teenagers now, once you hit 13, most teens have phones. And when you have a phone, more times than not, unless they're really locked up with parental controls, you have access to anything on the internet, even shopping for ammunition on school grounds. Some schools, you have to access Wi-Fi because you're not able to get a cell signal out. Some schools, though, you have full range of anything at your fingertips, anything. And I mean anything that you can find on the internet, you can access in a school, provided that you have connection to a cell tower. Now, if you're connected to a Wi-Fi signal inside the school, yes, there's going to be protections. You're not going to be able to, hopefully, you're not going to be able to shop for ammunition or visit a site that you shouldn't be visiting when you're on school grounds. But the phones in our hands and the phones in the hands of teenagers give them access to anything that you and I have access to, provided that those phones don't have parental controls. So yes, Ethan Crumbley was shopping, according to officials, shopping for ammunition in the school. Also, with that picture that we were talking about, a picture that, a note on his desk that contained a drawing, doodle, if you will, with a gun pointed the words, "The thoughts won't stop, help me." It literally had a gun with the words, "The thoughts won't stop, help me," and a drawing of a person who was then shot in front of a 15-year-old at school who has also been shopping for ammunition, apparently. So a lot of red flags, to say the least, according to what we have learned on this story. And now the answers are going to be pressed for as far as how did we, if you, just imagine for a second, how was this able to happen? If you were a parent and you knew that there were all of these, a parent of one of the 4 students killed, and you knew that these red flags existed based on the reports that have come out, not only are you now grieving, but your anger and frustration, and we know from covering school shootings here in Florida, and people know the school shootings that I'm talking about, your anger is now through the roof, and you're balancing these emotions. If you're the parents of one of the 4 students killed, you're grieving, yes, but you can't not hear all of these reports with how widespread news is shared on the internet these days. You can't not hear these reports, and I would imagine the parents of those 4 students killed, when they hear about these red flags, their blood is boiling over all the preventable opportunities that existed, and then the lack of action that was taken additionally. So a lot of action in our newsroom today. We have 8 on your sides. Justin Schecker going to the scene of another breaking news story that we're going to be covering out of Newport Richey, Florida, pertaining to a missing person. So a lot to get to here in the next couple of hours on WFLA Now. But right now, there is a manhunt underway for the 2 parents here on the right side of your screen. The comments are flying in so quickly, but I'm going to do my very best to feature more with hashtag #HeyJB. And Melody is commenting based on what I was just talking about. If you're the parent of one of those 4 students that were killed and you knew or you felt in your heart that this was preventable based on the news reports that have come out, Melody's saying hashtag #HeyJB. Oh yeah, if I'm a parent, I'm definitely hiring a lawyer and going after that school for negligence. We'll see exactly what as far as responsibility, accountability, and when you look at the preventability of this act, who is going to be held responsible, what actions are going to be taken, we're going to find out. But Melody, I think that you are not alone in feeling that way. I'd like to think that I know a lot of our audience and who joins us on these streams, and a lot of folks are parents. We have a lot of grandparents that join us too. And just speaking for a lot of them that I have had conversations with in messages and on Facebook posts and Twitter posts, and I would imagine that this is enough to make the average parent dumbfounded over how this was able to happen in Michigan. Because everybody knows, if it's able to happen in one town, what's to say it's not able to happen in your town? That's the part that is most terrifying of all. And when we're talking about accountability, here's another one that just came in from Chris Crago, hashtag #HeyJB. How did law enforcement not keep an eye on the parents? This is going to be the next step in this. You have, for the first time in history, a set of parents being charged in connection with their child's actions in regards to a school shooting that has taken place. First time, history. And you're supposed to keep tabs on that person. We know, as far as now, the scrutiny that has been out there with the Gabby Petito story, with Brian Laundrie here in Florida. We know how much scrutiny that there is out there on social media as far as a police agency that people like Chris would say should be keeping their eye and know the whereabouts of a particular individual or set of individuals, and then they don't. There are parallels there. When we were covering Brian Laundrie and Brian Laundrie was declared missing, our Facebook Live and YouTube Live comment section lit up, and the number one question was, how do you not know where this person is? So there is precedence for us in our coverage, and we're talking about different stories now, but I'm talking about now how the public asking that question of law enforcement, there is a theme there with this story and the one that we have covered so much here in Florida as far as the Gabby Petito and the Brian Laundrie story. Let's take a few more questions and comments. You can file in your question or your comment with hashtag #HeyJB. It doesn't have to be a question. If you just want to sound off, and if you want to speak on that's what we do on WFLA Now. We care what you have to say in our comment section. We do. I care. Our team cares. Our stream team, as we call it, cares about what you have to say. And we want to spotlight some of you so we gain a better understanding as to your reaction to the stories that we cover. It's interactive journalism. It's featuring what you have to say. And then also, yes, answering your questions. Perhaps you're a bit confused about this story. We can do our very best here with the journalists that we have at WFLA to answer your questions. So Jenny Olson, or I think it's Olson. Jenny joining us in the Facebook Live comment section with this comment here as well. Why would the school not check his backpack or locker for the gun? At my child's school, they do locker and backpack checks for electronic cigarettes. I mean, what the heck is going on is Jenny's comment, and we're not going to shy away from this type of comment. What the heck is going on is what Jenny and so many others have been saying. Now, here's the thing with the gun. I don't know if they had any knowledge that a firearm was on the premises. Asking why didn't they check his backpack or his locker for a gun, I don't know if they knew that a gun was on school. It's not as if they had heard a rumor or if they had heard, but I know what you're thinking. Before the comment section lights up, if somebody is drawing pictures of guns and with the words "help me" next to it, and and acts of violence in class and shopping for ammunition inside school, okay, on their cellular device, then wouldn't you want to keep a little bit of closer tabs onto what that individual student is bringing into school, what that individual student is bringing onto school grounds? Again, this goes back to now accountability, responsibility for what had happened. Was it preventable? And if it was preventable, what can be done as far as accountability and justice for these four sets of parents now, and not even just the four sets of parents that were killed, but imagine if your child is laying in a hospital bed right now rather than in a classroom because your child was injured. I'm also thinking about the parents of the students that were injured as well. Jenny, thanks for your comment. We don't have too much longer here, everybody on WFLA Now. We're going to try to leave up this picture as much as possible for as long as possible. Oh, okay, so we just got in an update. All right, we got in a breaking update, folks.
Breaking news on WFLA Now. Here's J.B. Biunno.
The attorney for Jennifer and James Crumbley, the attorneys, saying that the suspects' parents are not fleeing and they will be returning soon, according to a statement that is now being reported by multiple media outlets. JB here with you live, everybody on WFLA Now. Let's read this statement. It comes from the attorney team representing Jennifer and James Crumbley, and I'm going to read as follows. First, a BOLO went out and they detailed a 2021 Kia SUV that they might be traveling in, and then right after that update came in, everybody, the suspect's parents did not flee, according to the attorneys. I'm going to read the statement as follows. On Thursday night, we, the attorneys, contacted the Oakland County prosecutor to discuss this matter and to advise her that James and Jennifer would be turning themselves in to be arraigned. Instead of communicating with us, the prosecutor held a press conference to announce charges. The Crumpleys left town on the night of the tragic shooting for their own safety. They are returning to the area to be arraigned. They are not fleeing from law enforcement despite recent comments in media reports. So now Wood TV is reporting, and that's our sister station, our sister station in Michigan, in Flint, reporting that the last time they were seen was at noon. This talking about contact that took place on Thursday night. But the attorneys, Shannon Smith and Marielle Lehman, saying in a statement that they are going to be returning soon, contrary to recent media reports. My question for the attorneys would be, do you know where your clients are? And can you provide that for law enforcement? Because there's currently a massive manhunt going on for your clients, and it's taking up resources and also causing stress to a very already highly stressful situation, especially for the parents of those victims, those student victims that were killed in the shooting itself. So that would be, I'm just giving everybody some reporter transparency. If I could ask a question to attorney Shannon Smith and Marielle Lehman, where are your clients? And can your clients please contact law enforcement? They're facing 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. I think that would be in the best interest of all parties involved to put away this manhunt and put away this notion that they are trying to escape or trying to flee. What's going to happen? I don't know. We'll spend another couple of, now that we've got this recent development that just came in, We'll spend a couple more minutes taking your questions and comments. What do you think? Let's just kind of reset here, asking for new #AJB questions and comments about this update that just came in, that they are not fleeing according to the attorneys and that they are going to be returning soon based on that statement that I just read. What do you think? Reading some of the comments that are just coming in, I think that there's just catching up. There's a bit of a delay here. And I see, let me just shout out some names in our comment section while I wait for the comments to catch up here. Jason, Mario, Cheryl, Tammy, Elizabeth on YouTube. That's on Facebook, on YouTube. Wow, YouTube's coming in pretty quick. Let's get to YouTube comments once they slow down a little bit. Hello to YouTube. YouTube, we have a terrific audience on YouTube. Chip, Little Country, Katrina, Matt H., Lindsay DeTrapany. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Again, waiting for some of these comments to catch up. Let's see here. From this comment. Now, a commenter asking, of course, the attorneys can't divulge their location. What are you thinking? The attorneys can cooperate with law enforcement. The attorneys can cooperate with law enforcement on behalf of their clients who are missing and on the subject of a manhunt. I didn't mean that the clients would, the attorneys would give the location of their clients to the media, but how about just indicating to being cooperative with law enforcement as far as indicating where your clients are, because there's currently a manhunt underway for your clients. Getting to some other comments here. Moon, #AJB, why exactly are the parents being charged? Well, so the parents are being charged because there was immediate access to a firearm, and detectives say that Ethan's mom texted him after he was searching for ammo on his cell phone during class and said, "LOL, I'm not mad at you. You have to learn not how to get caught." There's a lot here, but that's not why the parents are charged. They are charged for 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter because of, under Michigan law, involuntary manslaughter is pursued if prosecutors believe that someone contributed to a situation where harm or death is high. I think we're going to find out more in the coming days and weeks as to why those charges were warranted and why they believe that harm or death. Why they believe that Jennifer and James Crumpley contributed to a situation where harm or death was high, based on what's going to come out perhaps in the days and weeks ahead. Wow, I can't even, I'm trying to click on some of these comments to bring them up on screen, and they're coming in so quickly. Apologies here, everybody. Let's get to this one that I can grab, and this is an interesting question when it comes to tracking down people, and it comes from one of our frequent commenters, Tom Colombati, #AJB. Doesn't this make them a flight risk? I don't have in front of me whether or not they were forced to surrender their passports for the 4 charges of involuntary manslaughter. If I find out that information, I'll tweet it out. But we do have to get going here in a couple of minutes here, folks. I'll try to bring up a couple more comments in the meantime while they're just coming in so extraordinarily quickly. Yes, I know that we're very well aware that moderators would be very helpful. See, oh, there it is. Okay, Julian's comment. Julian, we'll get your comment here on screen. Julian McKenna, it would be nice if our country as a whole got on the same page and it would give all kids consistent examples of respect, morals, and goodness, yet firm. And then a bunch of emojis. We have had so many conversations on WFLA now about about parenting. we just need to have a roundtable at some point just about modern day parenting, because as technology evolves, so do the challenges. And when a 15-year-old has access, or any child has access to the entirety of the world at their fingertips, this is the first generation in history where kids these days and teens have access to the entire world's information and all the good, bad, ugly, and evil within the world, all of it at their fingertips if they have a device without parental controls and access to the internet. So parenting, facing just unprecedented challenges as far as human history goes. It's never really, 50 years ago, parents had to worry about the houses down the street, had to worry about who was in their neighborhood, where their kids went on their bikes or skateboards, or walking home from school or walking to school. But now so much of parenting has really changed to focus on now not what kids are doing out and about, but what kids are doing with the devices in the palm of their hand. And parents have to act as almost police officers within their own homes to and I know this was the subject during Thanksgiving when I was home for Thanksgiving. This was the subject that we talked about. We have a lot of, in my family, we have a lot of kids running around right now, young kids, ranging in age from, literally infants all the way up to 14, 15 years old. A lot of kids in one section of the family that I spent with on Thanksgiving. And this was sometimes you talk about politics and Trump and Biden. Sometimes you talk about politics with your state. The focus of our Thanksgiving dinner conversation was, how do you parent in 2021? There are unique challenges presented. And I think Julian's comment here really touches on there's goals for parenting, but parents are facing more challenges than ever. How do you be an effective parent in 2021 when there's so much out there at your child's fingertips that is potentially or just straight up evil? It's tough. We'll end out on that, guys. We have another breaking news story that we got to get going to, folks, on WFLA Now, and it pertains to Kathleen Moore. Kathleen Moore, who has been missing in the Tampa Bay area. We do have an update pertaining to the Kathleen Moore, and you can read about it on WFLA.com. And we're getting prepared for our next live stream, but we've now done about an hour or so, roughly an hour or so, on the Crumblies, and again, leaving you with that note from their attorneys that they are not fleeing, that they are going to be returning soon. We can only hope that they're going to be returning soon. Don't need just all of this taxpayer resources, the heavy amount of taxpayer resources committed to the FBI, U.S. Marshal Service, local state police in Michigan, all the necessary resources that would be required for a manhunt for that to continue for hours or days on end. We're hoping that the Crumblies are, in fact, returning soon, as their attorneys claim. So we're now going to be hopping off stream for a short while, and we're going to be getting ready for another breaking news stream out of Pasco County, Florida, pertaining to Kathleen Moore, with 8 on your side's Justin Checker, who's currently en route to that scene. Everybody, I'm J.B. Biunno. More on WFLA.com, the WFLA app, as we continue to leave up this picture one more time of the Crumblies, and we'll have more on this story as well on WFLA.com and the WFLA app.